Welcome everyone to tonight's team call where we are going to talk about how to be persuasive and effective and get your point across the best way possible and how not to be manipulative. Because I think that sometimes when people start in these journeys, they're not really sure what to say to people or how to say it. And a lot of people are really concerned about sounding like sleazy salesperson, right? And none of you are sleazy salespeople, so I want to make sure that you guys can get your point across and not feel sleazy about all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because if you guys don't know, for all of you guys that are new, and there's so many of you, I'm so excited. I love PowerPoint presentations. It's like my security blanket, and I hope that you guys can appreciate it. And I make it a pretty purple, so everyone loves that, right? Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. Okay, so if it's not fitting to your screen, once I hit play, feel free to scroll up to the top of your screen and hit more and then say fit to screen, and then you'll be able to see it. All right, so let's get started. All right, so how to be persuasive, effective, and get heard in your conversations. What to say to get your way. And I mean, this can be applied in your regular life, maybe with your partner, or it can be applied in your coaching business. And I'm going to teach you a few different ways that have been proven to work. So I know you guys are so excited about that. All right, but first, we're going to talk about Success Club people. It is only the 11th of the month, and we have people killing it. Like, I am just so proud. Like, Lindsay, I know you're a new coach. Like, that's so awesome. Cecilia is Mandy's mom. Oh, my goodness. SC8. Like, so awesome. I love when moms just rock it out. That is so cool. You know, Carissa, Deanna, Mallory, Shan, like, you guys are doing so awesome. And you guys, there's so many people on this board that have never been on the board before. So I'm just so proud of you. You still have so much time to knock it out of the park this month. You know, we have obviously 21-day fix, 21-day fix extreme, 3-day refreshes coming at the end of the month. So there is so much opportunity towards the end of the month, maybe after people have indulged for Valentine's Day. I don't know, Miguel and I don't really celebrate Valentine's Day because every day we love each other. I know, gross, eh? But, you know, like people who go out for dinner and all that kind of stuff and they have chocolate, it would be a great post the day after Valentine's Day for your challenge group invite to start on March 2nd. So consider that. All right, we're going to start with number 1. You need to have a good intention. When you are starting a conversation, whether it be with your spouse, whether it be with a potential challenger, whether it be with a coach. And this always comes to mind with me when I think about intention. So hopefully this works and you guys can hear this.
What do you want? It's not that simple. What do you want? What do you want?
Right. Okay, so what do you want? What do you want in the conversation? You guys need to be super clear about what your intention is for having the conversation. Whether it be like, my intention is this person to become a coach. My intention is to inspire this person to hit Success Club. My intention is to get this person to buy a 21-day fixed challenge pack because it will change their life, not because it's going to give you Success Club points. So I want to make that big distinction right there. You have to really, if your focus right now is like, I need to sell, I have to hit these like things and I'm just going to sell whatever, people are going to feel that from you. And when you start off the conversation with a good intention in mind, you've heard me say this before, you are going to be more successful and help more people because they're going to feel that you care. And so much of what we do is online, so it's really difficult sometimes to put that emotion and feeling into text. That's what emoticons are for, you know, when you can get on the phone, but really make sure that you're paying attention and reading their goals, that they're writing back to you, and have that intention when you start the conversation. So, you know, basically what I want you guys to do, and here, I'm going to give you steps that you guys can actually do over the next week. with some of these things. And I want you guys to look at your calendar. Hopefully you have calendars set up and you have appointments or maybe follow-ups with people that you've been talking to, and look at these actual appointments or meetings or follow-ups. And I want you actually to set your mindset and the intention with what you're trying to help them with. And you can put notes about what you're going to talk to them, how you're going to follow up with them. But when you create that around the situation, you're creating an ideal environment for things to happen the way you want them to. You know, if you want to get a new coach, sell a challenge pack, or just make a good impression and plant some seeds, write that down. Because we've talked about it before, what is in here and what you believe is going to happen, because you're going to create those habits, and what you say is going to reflect how you feel inside. So before you start anything, it's so important that you have that intention written down. And if you're having a bad day, sometimes it's just best to like put the phone away or put conversations on hold, and because people can feel it. And even though you're trying to mask some things that are going on in your life, which can be really difficult, I know a lot of you guys are going through some stuff right now. I want to really challenge you guys to just, sometimes it's good just to take a break and then psych yourself up, talk to yourself in a positive way, be guy smiley, say, I like myself, I'm awesome, I rock, I'm a badass, and get back into it. If you need that break, it's totally okay. I know everyone's pushing really hard because it's a Teen Cup month, but I want you guys to be really cognizant about how you're feeling about things, because it's going to come across in nonverbal ways, in the way you talk, in the way you type. Just think about that. All right, number 2. This is so hard for women. It is so hard for women to tell people what they want. And I mean, you've seen that other, like the video I just played, you've seen it in memes, or however you say that. I don't even know how you say it, meme or whatever. You've seen that where they're like, what do you want to eat, right? And women's like, I don't know. They make a joke because women have a hard time being bold. And when sometimes we're bold, we're called other things. So I want you guys to really be clear when you are asking for something or you're talking about something, the boldness should come across as confidence. And the way that it comes across as confidence is that you know these products work. You are proof the product works. You have personal experience with it. And so that's where your confidence is going to come into play when you're talking to people. And when you are direct and open and say, like, look, I struggled with, you know, maybe an unhappy marriage, or I struggled with addiction, or I struggled with, you know, emotional eating, and you actually be honest with them and you open up to them, you create a deeper level of connection, and that increases their trust in you to help them do what they've not been able to do before. A lot of the times when people are talking to you as a coach, they're doing it because they're like, man, I have tried everything else and I failed. So when you are bold about what you can do for them and when you're actually telling them and relating to them, you're creating this good environment, this trusting environment. But it's scary because you're actually putting yourself out there. And that's why people freak out about challenge group invites, where I make you guys tell your story, because it's scary, because it makes you vulnerable. But that's what connects people to you and not someone else. Sometimes when we're trying to get something across, we're scared about price. We are scared about selling or anything else like that. And what I want you guys to do is just forget your coaches. Seriously, just talk to people and relate your experiences with the products. And you guys all know these products sell themselves. They are amazing. So try, I don't know, scratch that. Don't try. Do. You guys know this stuff works. It's not a gimmick. You have to be bold enough to say, this is right for you because it's amazing and this is why. And you list it off, right? Okay, next time you need to ask for something, you have to use clear, concise words. When we say stuff like try, like what I did, or maybe, or possibly, it's not very strong. It's not strong language. It doesn't convey confidence. So what I want you guys to do, look, I even said it, I want, is to use these phrases because they come across as stronger. Let's do this. You deserve this. You can do this. This one is scary for a lot of people. A lot of people tell me, well, you know, I'm getting a lot of money objections. And to say to someone, this isn't about money, you have to do that one very carefully because sometimes it is. And if you know the person well enough, you can tell them, look, this totally isn't about money. This is about you not wanting to commit to something and invest in yourself. And there's a way to say that to not sound harsh or cold. But if you know the person, you know they just spent $150 on boots, it's not about the money. It's that they haven't prioritized what they're telling you they want. So for you to be able to say to them, like, hey, I just saw you bought like $150 boots. Tell me this isn't about the money. It's not, right? So, I mean, obviously be very cautious when you're saying that one. But if you know the situation, you know the person, saying that in the right situation, they'll be like, you know what, you're right. Okay, let's do this. You know, and a lot of it's just really positive reinforcement. Like, you can totally do this. I believe in you. And sometimes, guys, you are the only person who's ever said that to them. I believe you can do this. And that is so huge. That is your power as a coach. And that is why we are better than anything else out there on the market. So realize your power with this. The next thing you guys can do is use feelings and create feelings. And when we talk about intentions and setting that up, and then we use clear, direct language, that's going to be the start of how we get into feelings. So how do we get to tap into someone's feelings? So the number one thing we can do to tap into someone's feelings is to tell stories. Tell stories about our failures, tell stories about our successes, tell stories that elicit emotions in people to get them to connect to you because they have gone through the same thing. And if you want to like top this one, you get them to tell you a story. Tell me about a time when, you know, and tell me about a time when you succeeded at something. How did you feel about that? Tell me about a time where you had a non-scale victory. And when you can do that and they start thinking about it and they start getting all these warm, fuzzy feelings, they're going to attach it or imprint it on you. So that's what's really cool about using stories. And when you think about, you know, something that brings you positive emotion, that when you remember a story and you're thinking about the other person, it's bringing in your why into these conversations, and it's helping develop someone else's why that they don't really recognize is their why. So I think that's why stories are so important, and that's why some of the top coaches, they're really good. You know, they're not salespeople. They're just so awesome at telling stories. You look at anyone like Katie Ursa, she's like super awesome at telling a story and getting people invested in her. And yeah, she kicked cancer's ass, but it was so much more than that. It's the way that she delivers things that people feel so connected with her. I've never had cancer, thank God. You know, God willing, I'll never will. But I relate to her on so many other levels just because she's just so, she creates that emotion in me, the way that she posts, because she's real. And that's the other thing I want to tell you guys is, like, you don't have to be perfect on Facebook. Be quirky, be funny, tell stories, and share your struggles, because that's going to create this connection with people that you don't even know you're connecting to. But basically what you need to do is get into a habit of explaining your why. And that's why we're great as coaches, and that's why we work on it in training boot camps. But the more you start developing your why and get better at telling it, your business will explode with that. All right, so what are the benefits basically once you've explained what and why you need something, you need to share with them why they need this. So when you're having a conversation with someone, you've talked to them about their goals, and what I like to do is like I'll ask them, okay, so tell me what you tried before, tell me what you struggle with, because they're telling me exactly the way that I need to lead that conversation. Because if they've struggled with falling off the path because they don't have a support person, hello, coach, great, right? Or they fall off the path because they like sweets at night, and then so you focus on Shakeology. But basically, you have to tell them why they need it, and you have to be so clear about that. And they don't need it because you need to hit Success Club. Like you have to keep their needs on top of everything, and it starts with your intention of the conversation. So when you keep their needs at the top of everything and you address why they need it, your chances of success for getting through to that person goes sky high. And, before they even ask about why they need it, you tell them. And they'll be like, wow, I totally need this. You're so right. So I want you guys to think of the recent conversations you've had with people. And I want you guys to make a list of maybe the needs and feelings, and then make a list of the other person's needs and feelings. And do they match up, right? Like, are they similar? Because if they're not similar, then you're not doing something right. So if you can do better, and we all can do better, and that's why talking to more people and having more conversations, I swear the first 30 conversations I had, I did everything wrong. But the best thing with this is that you get to learn from it and get better. And someone that I might have talked to 2 years ago and I would talk to now would have a different experience with me because I had no idea what I was doing at the beginning. So that's okay. I want you guys to realize that maybe you've had some really bad conversations. I've had bad conversations where I've verbal diarrhea all over everyone. And I'm like, man, I can't stop myself from talking. And that person probably just like, whoa, man, I'm not joining this. This is crazy. She's crazy. But maybe if they ever give me an opportunity to talk to them again, I would be completely different. So forgive yourself if you've had bad conversation. Tell yourself it's part of the learning process and that you can grow from here. And then, yes, I put this in here. We have, Brandy, I don't usually call people assholes, but we do have one coach on our team who likes to use the word frequently. But basically, you're telling people, I do care about you. Like it's not as much as, yeah, we have Success Club goals and stuff like that. When you actually care about someone, it does come across in conversation. And even people that I've never met personally and I've talked to online, the fact that I've either followed up with them or just asked them how it's going, they can feel that. That's what you're aiming for. All right, so this is it's the last step, and this works better in relationships. So this might work better with your coaches or your challengers than when you're trying to get a challenger. But I wanted to put this in here because it's a really good technique, and I know you've heard it before, if I would you technique. So this is the when I feel I need, you'll see. I'll just read it too. Basically, you have to start with when you're talking to someone. When you say, like, I'll give this example. When you posted your lunch today in the challenge group, I felt inspired by it. Thank you. So that's how you can engage with challengers to maybe turn them into coaches. But it's basically you're giving them praise. You're giving them positive reinforcement for what they're naturally doing. And it's great to, offer praise to your coaches. Maybe they posted a really great challenge group invite, or they recruited a certain amount of coaches. But basically, when you use this technique, you're creating this bond with someone that is making them feel recognized and celebrated at the same time. So it's a great way to, increase the coaches on your team. It's a great way to increase engagement on your team. It's just a great overall technique to use, even in general everyday life. That's why I wanted to include it. So this is what I want you guys to be aware of. You don't have to be the grammar police. I mean, I am certainly not. I make mistakes all the time. But I want you guys to be very cognizant of your punctuation. And sometimes when and this is a pet peeve of mine, some of you guys know this, when people go ... Because to me, it's a negative connotation in a sentence because I can't tell tone online. So I'm thinking like, do you need more information? Are you not happy with what I just said? It just leaves so much question. And so for me, I never use this when I'm talking to challengers, potential coaches. I just don't use it. I use a period and that's it. So just be cognizant of what you're using and what other people might perceive. It's very difficult with tone and all that enough on Facebook unless you're actually on the phone. So just be careful what you're actually typing. And one of the most important things that when you have a conversation with someone, whether it's about coaching, whether it's about becoming a challenger, if they leave your conversation with any type of doubt in their mind, they won't sign up. They'll go look for something else to answer their questions. And even though you think you might have answered all the questions, sometimes there's just so much information that they're overwhelmed, right? So I think, a lot of this is try and give breadcrumbing information so it's not overwhelming. But when people still have that doubt or they're not sure, they're never going to go and just buy it. They will either go do their research, they'll ask you more questions, but they won't complete the order if they have a smidgen of doubt about anything. And when you attach the value of what you provide as a coach to their goals, your chance of success is going to go through the roof. Because when someone tells you what their goals are, maybe they're getting married, maybe they have an event coming up, maybe they have an anniversary, and if you say to them like, well, if I could help you lose this 20 pounds by that date, how much would that mean to you? And they'd be like, oh, it'd be so amazing, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, it's the value on that. Someone might say, well, I don't know, I'd pay you like $500 if you could totally make me do that, for sure. And I'd be like, okay, well, I can do it for $154 or $140. And then they're like, oh, okay, I'm in. That obviously not all the time, but when you attach it to their goals, they're more likely to agree with you. And you have to get clear of who you are as a coach and who you are not and what you have to offer. And I think that some of us who are new coaches have no idea. And that's totally okay. When we all sign up, we have no idea what the heck we're doing. But when you're a coach, your job is to inspire and motivate. And you can't go over to someone's house and press play for them. You can't make sure they're not eating McDonald's every night. You can't do that. But you can lead by example. And you can post recipes. And you can be what you hope your challengers could be. You have to be your best challenger, right? So if you are struggling as a coach, we all have struggles as coaches. I have struggles as coaches. I have bad days. There are days that my nutrition is absolutely horrible. But I think the goal is if we share that and we're real and we do our best, people are going to realize that, right? People are going to identify with that because not everyone's perfect. And my customer base will identify with me. Your customer base will identify with you. But the other thing that you guys have to get clear on, and sometimes it's not clear at the beginning, because when we first start this, we're not all sure about how it's all going to go, and we're just going to try it. And I was the same way, right? But when you treat this like a career, it will pay you like one eventually, because you have to put in the work to build up your team and all that kind of stuff. But if you treat it like a hobby, it's going to pay you like one. The biggest mistake people make is that they treat it like a hobby and they expect it to pay like a career. I mean, like if you look at someone who works 10 years in the industry to make $70,000, right? What if you could do that in 2 years? What if you could do that in a year? Right? That's how you have to shift your perception about what you're making and the effort that you're putting in. And it's totally doable. It just depends on you. And whether you are going to start off as doing this as a hobby because you're just trying it out, That's totally okay. The thing I will say to you is that this is all about consistency, and you will hear this over and over and over and over again. It'll be beaten to death. That is all about consistency. And I'm going to show you a graphic on the next page that I think applies to the life cycle of a coach. Okay, sorry. I'm going to retell you the steps. Have your intention, be bold, use feelings, talk about the benefits, and use the when you do this, I feel technique. Okay. This is so awesome. This is actually the technology adoption life cycle. That's this actual graph, okay? But I think it totally applies to the life cycle of a coach. So when you first become a coach, you're in this early time on the left-hand side over here, okay? You are posting your working out, you're posting your drinking Shakeology, you post your first challenge group invite. That's where these people fall, okay? And then you get a whole bunch of people who are early buyers, who are going to buy from you no matter what. They're going to invest in you because they would watch a 21-day fix commercial and buy off the commercial because that's those people. Some of you don't have those people in your network. That's okay. But what happens is that people who are new coaches who already have maybe a little bit of a transformation, post a challenge group invite and get like SC 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever it is that month, 2 months, what happens is they fall into the chasm right here. This is where coach death happens. Because what happens is that these people who are like, oh, this is so easy. I just post an invite and people come to me and I sell them stuff and that's all I have to do. And so they'll post another challenge group invite 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, depending on their network. And then maybe 2 people respond or 1 person responds. And it's not that they're putting in less effort. It's just they're getting less result. So what people do is they start to give up. They start, or they stop being consistent. They stop posting on Facebook. They stop having conversations. And they just say, well, my network is cold or it's dead. And it's not dead. It's just sleeping. And what happens that you have to do to get out of this chasm is you have to do something drastically different because the next people in this chain are where most people fall on your network. You're going to have the pragmatists, and then at the end of it all, I'll talk about that. But to get out of the chasm, you have to do something you've never done before. And maybe that's creating a like page and running ads. Or maybe that's posting a real huge transformation of yourself or a huge financial goal that you've reached. But it's something that's going to scare you, and it's going to be something you've never done before, but that will get you out of the chasm, and it will re-engage people from your network who weren't the early buyers. Now, once you keep doing this, right, you keep being consistent, you're going to keep going on this curve, and the people who are either your haters or people who are like, no, I want to go to the gym, or any of those other people, they're going to start paying attention to you because, number 1, you proved it wasn't a fad. Number 2, you proved it worked. So at first, people are going to ask you, why the heck are you doing this? Why are you posting on Facebook? Why are you posting sweaty pictures of yourself? It's so disgusting. Those people, they're going to ask you, well, okay, so tell me how you lost 40 pounds doing this. And at first, they'll be like, oh, you shouldn't post that at all. So if you keep being consistent in all of this, you're going to engage those naysayers, the skeptics from your profile. If you haven't already unfriended them or blocked them or unfollowed them, they're going to engage with you. And the key with all this, guys, is that you can't ever just stop adding to your network. And there's so many ways to do that. You can do it through like pages. You can do it through groups. You can do it through fit clubs. You can do it through blog. You can do it through YouTube. You can do it through Instagram. Like, there's just so many different ways to do it. Is it work? Absolutely. But is it worth it? Absolutely. So that's where I don't want you guys to fall. Don't get stuck in the chasm. It happens to everybody. don't stop being consistent when you don't see as much of an engagement with your posts. It just means you need to try something different. And that's kind of where I want you guys to do. Think about where you are in your coaching career. It does not matter how long you've been a coach. It matters how active you've been as a coach. And if you stop posting for whatever reason, you're resetting where you are. And it's so hard. And we talked about momentum, and we talked about this freight train that you become. But if you stop posting for whatever reason, there's a life event that happens to you, something about a job, it can be anything. And these can be real things, and they can be so emotional things. But I'm going to tell you, if you stop posting, your engagement's going to go down. The belief in what you do is going to go down, because people are going to be like, well, what happened to this person? Why'd they stop? And then you have to start that all over again, and it's harder. So as hard as it is, whatever you're going through right now, keep going. If you can't post something about working out for whatever reason, post food. People love food. People love recipes. And I'm horrible at recipes, but if I couldn't, for whatever reason, post about working out or team accomplishments or whatever, post something. Post something that's going to engage your network, so let people know that you're not dead. We talk about this in our training boot camp about how to create your profile as a magnet. If you start getting people to go to your profile and all of a sudden you fall off the face of the planet, they're going to stop looking at your stuff. Facebook's going to stop using the algorithm to, like, when you do start posting stuff, they're not going to see your stuff. Don't do it. Just don't do it. I know, it sounds so easy. It's not, but don't do it. All right, so I want you guys to crush the rest of the month. We just hit 1,000 coaches on our downline. So exciting. Woohoo. We have lots more rank advancement announcements tomorrow. I cannot wait. It's going to be a big day for the team. 3-day refresh is coming out for all you Canadian coaches. And now, or right after Valentine's Day, is the perfect time to post a challenge group invite, because people are going to indulge themselves on chocolate for Valentine's Day, maybe some lovely champagne, but definitely think about what you're going to be posting. And I know that so many more of you guys are going to hit Success Club this month, and I cannot wait to see what you guys are going to do at the end of the month. Now, Brandy, what we usually do is we take a selfie. I take a picture of all you guys, actually, is what happens. And we have some people who are black screened out. Yeah, there we go. Thank you very much, everyone. Don't be shy. I'm going to take a whole bunch, and then I'll take, we'll just see here who looks the best. All right. Oops. There we go. Okay. We got two people who are not going to black. They're unscreened there. Oh, that's fine. We'll love you anyways. We'll just harass you next time. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Someone do an Ellie pose. Ellie does the whole, like, arms up. Yeah, there we go. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So that's it for tonight, guys. I hope you guys found this valuable. I know it wasn't super long, and that's okay. We don't have to have super long calls. But if you have any more questions about any of this, feel free to bring it up in the team page. I will post the call tomorrow. And I hope to see how incredibly successful you guys are going to be over the next month. Have a fabulous night. Bye, guys.